So with stamina and strength nerfed, armor combos, whether it's armored rigs or an armor and a rig, seem to be the hardest thing to get light. Don't worry, I did it for you. Let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the X-Fill and Hideout. My name is Ghost. If you guys have never been here before, I'm very excited you guys are here. Today, we are going to be tapping into the lightweight side of things on Tarkov because of how often we are overweight. We're going to talk about some light kits. Before we get into the video, I do stream on Twitch almost every single day except for Sundays. We are live in the morning on Twitch, and I'd love to have you guys by the stream. Grab caffeine. I think it'll be fun. If you guys get some value out of today's video, make sure you smash that like button. It does go a long way for the channel. And thank you guys so much. We just recently passed 10,000 subs and continue to climb, all because of you guys. So thank you so much. If you guys want to sub for more free content, feel free to do that. And you can always hit the bell if you want to be notified when videos go live. Let's get you guys fitted super light. So a couple things I want to mention before we start the video is this video is going to cover tier armors 4 through 6. And the reason why I'm not going to cover any tier 3 armor is because I'm not really sold on tier 3 armor anymore. I personally think it's kind of a waste. I feel like that's a separate video to talk about, but essentially it's going to save you from some scav shotguns and it's going to save you from some pistol rounds. And mind you, I'm saying some. So I don't typically recommend wearing class 3. It's extra weight. This whole guide is about being light. I would almost rather wear nothing if all you can afford is class 3. The only thing that I would say is a worthy mention for class 3 is the Dr. Disrespect red armor, because it's extremely light. It is class 3 to protect you from some of those things, and it's readily available on the flea market around 40,000 ruble. But I'm not going to highlight any of the class 3 just for that reason, especially with things like PS getting buffed and SKS scavs feeling like they're everywhere. But at least class 4 and above, you can tank some rounds from some scavs and some players and continue on your journey of living. The other thing that I wanted to say is there's timestamps available. So if you want to go to, we're going to be going from worst to best. And then we also have some worthy mentions of my top 5. And if you guys want timestamps down below, you guys can go to any one you want at any point in time. The way that I'm going to be scoring these from worst to best is subjective. There's going to be people who maybe you guys disagree with what I'm saying. I don't claim to know everything. This is based on the information that I'm given. These are the decisions that I'm making, and we will talk about that in the video. But so that you guys are mindful when I am saying what is better than the other, I'm gauging these based on being light. This video is about making kits so that you are as light as possible. That way you guys can level endurance or just not be overweight all the time, which is super annoying. So everyone is going to think that what they run is the best. That's why they run it. But hopefully this can shed some light on some things maybe you guys didn't know. I'm trying to come into this as unbiased as possible. And I feel like with some of my choices, I definitely am, because I would have said something different before the research and before trying out these rigs in raid and seeing how they perform. Now let's get into the video. Just keep in mind, the goal of today is we want to be at 8 kgs or lower. With a combo, with an armored rig, no matter what we wear, that is going to be our baseline, and that's how we're going to be scoring these, okay? At number 5, we have Tasmanian Tiger, the whopping level 6 armor, the new level 6 armor that, where do we get? We'll show you that first before we talk about it. We're gonna be able to get that from Ragman 3 from a barter. This barter is going to set you back about 130 to 150,000 rubles, depending on how much these items are. Now, the Tasmanian is not something that I was thinking that I was going to put on this, but overall, it's level 6. It's made out of ceramic, which isn't the best material. It doesn't have the best effective durability, but it's level 6. No matter what, it's going to act like a level 6, at least for the first and second round that you're hit with. The other thing that I'm not a huge fan of is the size. It is literally the size of a bank robber or an idea rig. And so you don't have any space whatsoever, but it's level 6. So that's something to keep in mind, is it is technically the best protection you can get in the game, at least for your thorax. Now, the other thing is it doesn't cover your stomach. So for those of you who love your stomach covered because of a lot of the changes with damage mitigation and limbs being hit and so forth, this might not be the rig for you. It's also a little bit pricey. We have much better options today that we're going to be talking about. This one's going to be right at 7.5, which is under the baseline, under where we want to be. So it's very light, which is good. It doesn't have crazy debuffs. -5 on the movement speed is fairly good. -4 on the turning and -6 on the ergonomics is all fairly good stuff. I think ultimately it's a pretty solid lightweight max armor rig. And I think it's something that should be considered if you guys are trying to run light, but you want something a little bit more beefy and don't really care about space. Maybe you're not looting, maybe you're just running around with an SJ6 and 3BT. I really think right around 130 to 150K, this is going to be your armor. Coming in at number 4, the Eagle Industries MMAC. Now, this rig is kind of like a mediocre rig in a lot of ways, but still worth mentioning because it is only at 7.2 kg, which is nice. It's light. It's class 4. It is only thorax protection. It doesn't have crazy debuffs, a little bit worse than the one we just looked at, but it's also made out of the best material in the game, which makes it pretty nice. And you also have access to it at Ragman 2, which is also really nice. We're going to be able to get the MMAC for right around 70 to 80,000 for the barter. And the effective durability is like right in between for all of the level 4 armors. So it repairs well. Now, the one thing that I would say that is a problem with running this is if you plan on getting it back. It kind of seems like every time I run one of these, whether I'm testing it or whether I'm just running it in general, I don't get it back. People take it, you're not going to most likely get it back in insurance, and that's because of its size being a 3x3. It is very easy to take, even in a smaller bag, along with looting other stuff. So that is definitely something to keep in mind, and we can go ahead and get this from Ragman 2. And the barter is going to be right here. And so this would be coming in at number 4. Now, coming in at number 3, this was a very hard decision to make. The top 3 are just all so good for different reasons. But coming in at number 3 is going to be the Anna Tactical M2 Armored Rig, coming in at a 7.0 kg flat. This thing is super light. And it is made out of good material. It has a good effective durability, making it one of the top 5 in the class 4 armors for actually giving you protection. It's going to go ahead and protect your stomach as well, which we haven't seen on the last 2 that we just talked about. So it's going to protect your stomach. It doesn't have crazy debuffs. -8 doesn't feel the best when on the movement speed, but for the price, for the accessibility, this is definitely worth it. You can actually get this on Flea, which is one of the things I love the most about it, for about 85,000 rubles, so it's not terrible. Now, the barter we can actually get for about 55,000, and I'll show you how. The fact that you can get it even after your resets are all up, because most of these are 2 per reset, so you kind of either have to cycle through them or you're going to have to choose just something different entirely. But the fact that we can just go to the flea market, spend a little bit more, and still run this rig if you want to is really nice. This is what it's going to look like. The space is decent. It doesn't have a 2x2, which I do like having, but this is great space, 18 container size for the armor that you're getting. We can go ahead and get this from Ragman 3. We can get it right here for this barter. Now, this barter, at getting it to about 50 to 55K, what you're going to do is you're actually going to go up to Ragman and you're going to go ahead and grab these face shields right. Let me just grab them right here. And you're going to grab them for a chainlet. You can get as many as you want, which makes it easy. So you're going to get 3 of these, and then you're going to go back down to the armor and you're going to use them for right here. And then we can get this for about 55K, and we get 2 of them for that price. And I think this is a very, very, very underrated rig, something worth checking out for sure. Okay, so also something I forgot to say, my editor will put this in. I'm my editor. About the M2, that's also amazing, is you almost always get it back in insurance because it's a clunky 4x4. Nobody wants to put it in their backpack. So there's that. Okay, on to the next one. Coming in at number 2 is going to be most people's favorite level 4 armor, and that is the HiCom Trooper TFO body armor. This thing is such a beast. There's many times where in the past I would actually rather run this than some of the class 5 armors that were made out of worse material, just because it feels so good to run. When you actually look at the stats, we begin to figure out why. It's only 6.8 kg. This thing is light as heck. The movement is not amazing, but it's not terrible either. And then it makes up for it by having really, really low debuff for turning speed and ergonomics. It's made out of the best material in the game. It has the best effective durability. So arguably the best level 4 armor if you're looking at just the armor. 85 hit points. It does only cover the thorax, but it still feels really good and still one of my favorites, especially for protection and for being light, which is dope that you get both if you want to make these runs. Now, when it comes to rocking rigs on top of it, we're still holding the same baseline. We want to be right at 8 kilograms. And so these are some of the rigs that are worthy mentions in my opinion. The reason why I think this is a worthy mention, and this is the CSA chest rig, is because this rig is extremely cheap. So if you guys are going for like something more budget, but you still want to run this armor, so you want to save money somewhere else, it's going to be in the rigs. I don't typically like the bank robber or the idea rig because I just don't think it's enough space for meds and your mags and not keeping stuff in your backpack. But this is going to give us a little bit more. It's going to give us those 2 extra slots, which are kind of big in my opinion, especially when you can run like an IFAK, you can run a couple other things in there. Maybe you need a morphine or whatever the case is. It gives us 2 extra spots. Maybe you can throw in an extra mag since you have that spot. You can get this for as low as 8,000 rubles. Typically they sit right around 12 to 15,000 rubles. But you can get it as low as 8, so it makes it really cheap. The trooper we're going to be grabbing on the flea market, and they stay between like 80 and 100,000 most of the wipe, and that's because people use them for a slick barter. I don't know if they're going to keep the slick barter the entire wipe, but that's around the price that they stay. So that's where we would get this. So this is going to be our cheap option, not our lightest option, but our cheap option. And that's going to net us an extra 0.75. And then we're going to have our lightest option, which is going to be the Thunderbolt. This is such a dope rig. It is the same slots as some of the other rigs we have, but just much lighter. So this is going to give us only an extra 0.6, netting our entire rig system at 7.42, which is really, really nice. What we're going to be looking at inside of this is we're going to have extra space. And the thing I like about this than the rig I'm going to show you next is not only is it lighter, this is, by the way, this one's about 20 to 25K. Sometimes it gets a little bit higher than that, but you should be paying about 20, 25K for this. I like that it has an extra 1x2. I like the setup better. It ends up being lighter. Now it doesn't really match as well for those of you who want to match your kits, which the next one will be good for you guys. And that is going to be this one right here. And this one is the Haley Strategic chest harness. Now look at the slots, as I'm telling you, it's almost identical. But it's like that. It's slightly heavier at 0.9 kgs. This is only going to make us slightly heavier at about 7.5 for our total kit, which isn't bad at all. The pricing on this one is going to be cheaper though. I typically find this, I would say 3,000 to 5,000 rubles cheaper than the Thunderbolt that I just showed you guys. So keep that in mind if you're going for something that you want a little bit more space than the CSA, but you don't want to spend a ton of ruble as well, and you want to save a little bit, you can totally grab this and you can run that one. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is the budget BlackRock, and that is the Umka rig, if I'm saying that correctly. And this, as you can see, we get the 2x2. I love having a 2x2, whether I want to run a Grizzly. If you guys want to learn how to run budget Grizzlies and talk about how it's literally the best thing to run, I will link the video somewhere for you guys about my Grizzly video. But I like running Grizzlies. So this is kind of good for me because I have the 2x2. It's really cheap as well. You can find this for about 15 to 18K on the market, which makes it very affordable. It is a little bit heavier, but you get maybe space that you want, and it is also cheaper. So you have 2 pros, but the con is it is slightly heavier. With these together, we are right at our threshold where we want to be, which is 8.0 kg. And then you can definitely run this combo, and I think you really like it. Now, coming in at number 1, I know if you guys just watch our most recent video on budget rigs, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, don't talk about the Strandhog again. Like, you're just in love with this rig. I'm telling you guys right now, or having a light kit for leveling endurance, this is the best. This is the best thing that you can run. We're sitting at 6.5 with a armored rig, which means we have the space, we have the armor, at 6.5 for our total. We can get this from a Ragman barter for about 70 to 85,000 rubles, which is really cheap for what we're getting. Now it is Ragman 3, so you do have to wait a little bit to get it unless you kill somebody with it. But the debuffs are nice. This actually has the fastest movement speed in level 4 armors. It protects our stomach, okay? The container size, look what we're looking at here. We got 1x3s. We got 2x2s. I mean, we got a little bit of everything in here. Good, decent space for it being the lightest and fastest rig that we can run. Now, it isn't made out of the best materials, but it's kind of right in the middle for effective durability. So it's not terrible. Sitting in the middle isn't bad. So this is definitely going to be your go-to. This is my #1 choice. I kind of wrestled with 2 and 3, but I'm not wrestling with #1. I really don't see anything that beats it for what we are specifically talking about on running light armored kits. Let me show you guys real quick where we can get it, since I've been showing you the other ones. We're going to go Ragman 3. And we can go down to it right here. And there's the barter, and we can get 2 per reset. So in our worthy mentions, the first one we're going to talk about is a hex grid. So for all of you super Giga Chad warriors who want something light, but also want something good, we have the hex grid. Now, you're not going to be able to get this because it's pretty rare. You're going to be able to only get it by either killing somebody with it, looting it, or farming raiders. Typically labs, they've been spawning in with them a good amount. So if you guys play some labs, farm some raiders, you should be able to get your hand on some hex grids. They are arguably the best armor in the game. Now, there's a whole argument based on should you have stomach protection, should you have only thorax. That's a completely different conversation. They're made out of the best material in the game. They're super light for what you're getting, and they're also really rare, but literally, arguably, the best armor in the game. The debuffs aren't terrible. We're only at -1 for the ergonomics, -2 for the turn speed. And this is definitely something that you could run and still be under our threshold, but you would have to run like a bank robber or an idea rig, and then for you to remain right at that 8.0, but definitely a worthy mention if you guys do have it. Our next worthy mention is going to be, and by the way, guys, these are in no specific order. I'm just throwing out the ones that I think you guys should also know about, just so they're there. Is going to be the Strandhog's brother, and this is the Eclipse. The Eclipse RBAVAF plate carrier. Looks very similar, as you can tell. This is going to protect our thorax and our stomach. This is also class 4, and we don't have crazy on the debuffs. Nothing too special. But you will have to trade a military flash drive for the barter, and these sit right around 100K is what I've been seeing them as. Okay, they're way up to 130. So I have it down that they typically are between 105 and 130. So that's decently accurate. It's a little bit over on that, and that's going to be from Ragman 3. The cool thing is this thing is sitting right at 7.5. So we're still 0.5 under the threshold that we want to be, and definitely a worthy mention, something worth checking out. And then we can look at what it looks like on the inside. And this is what's going to look on the inside. So it's pretty much the Strandhog with 2 extra solo slots. Another worthy mention is the Anna sibling, which is the Anna M1. We talked about the Anna M2, which is very, very underrated. The Anna M1, a little less underrated. It's kind of expensive. So it's quite a decent bit heavier, a little bit worse effective durability, but still a decent rig to run. It is going to hit you with that -10 on the movement speed. It does protect the stomach. It's class 4 armor steel, 65 points over here. We're at 8.3, so we're going to be 0.3 over the threshold that we kind of wanted to be at. The barter is super expensive for the water, so I wouldn't even recommend that. I would just go straight to the flea market and buy it. And you're going to be able to get it from the flea market for about 130,000 rubles. The barter is about 150,000. So that's what I've been seeing it at least. And this is what it's going to look like on the inside. The cool thing about the inside is you do get the 2x2, 2x2 slots, which I really, really like. So it could be the move. It's totally up to you guys. But if you're going for like the lightest kit possible, maybe not, but still definitely something that I want to talk about. Last worthy mention, something that I'm sad didn't make it in, sitting at 8.5 kg. So we're 0.5 over, but honestly, one of my favorite armors to run, one of the best armors in the game, made out of the best material in the game. Not too bad on the debuffs, a little bit bad on the ergo, but the movement speed feels very, very good. Class 5 armor. Now it is only thorax protection, but inside, I need you guys to see inside. Look at this freaking space. This is so nice too, guys, because in your rig, you can keep your serve kit if you're emptying it out for something else, and you want to make sure that you can keep your serve on you. That way, when you drop your bag and you're fighting, you still have access to it. So having that, your 2x2 in case you want a grizzly or something that's just worth a lot, you got your slots for your mags. I mean, I'm in love with this rig, so I feel a little bit biased. I'm really sad that it didn't make the top 5, but this is definitely a worthy mention. You can get this on a Ragman barter as well for about 125,000 rubles, which for what you're getting is honestly nothing. And you can get this after completing, I believe the quest is Long Line. So if you complete that, you get Ragman 4, you have access to this. And then you also get it as a quest reward. So definitely something worth thinking about running as you guys continue to progress through the game. That's pretty much all I have for you guys. But one thing that I do want to do is communicate with you guys. I want to have some healthy conversations down below in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of my top 5. Let me know if you guys would do something different. Maybe there's an armor rig or even just rig without the armor that I just completely missed. You guys knew about it and I didn't. I would love for you guys to put it in the comments, not just to tell me, but also so that it can bring value to the people who are watching the videos and reading through the comments. You guys can add a little bit down there and it could kind of just help everybody out. You guys for coming by and watching another video. I hope this video brought you guys some value, helped you out. Maybe you learned something. Maybe it's something that you can pass on to the next person. If you guys did like the content, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more free content like this, smash the like button because it does really help the videos. And if you guys want, you can always hit the bell to be notified when these videos go live. I would love to catch you guys by the stream sometime. We are live every single morning, bright and early. Grab some caffeine and come over to Twitch. We usually have a lot of fun. Hope you guys are very blessed. Hope you have an amazing day or night depending on where you're at in the world. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. There's more videos for you. Check those out. I will catch you on the next one. And as always, happy raids, my friend.